Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Wilbur Does. Today we're going to tackle another project on the old Focus here, and I'll give you a little backstory on what it's doing. It's not getting up to temperature, right? And I've had it happen to me previously where it was also not reaching temp and sends too much fuel to the engine. Engine stalls out when you're sitting there. It's a headache. It's a mess. Not sure why it doesn't default to a more favorable setting, but we're going to fix that today, hopefully. So let's dive into it. I'll show you what I've already done and then tell you what we have to do, right? All right. Okay, so I apologize for the lighting in advance. It just kind of is what it is. The sun is that way. So this is what we have. But previously what happened, it was the cylinder head temperature sensor, which is located here. I'll get you in here. There's a little rubber boot with this line here. You take this little rubber boot out, and then it's a deep well 19 millimeter. Hold on one second. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but that's the sound of freedom getting some practice hours in. Hopefully it won't be too bad. It won't interrupt us a whole lot. But anyway, the 19 millimeter deep well, with the right deep well, you can get this cylinder head temperature sensor out and then put a new one in. And that solved my problem previously. Well, I had a lifetime warranty on that sensor, so I took it back and I've already swapped this out for a new one. And after I swapped it out, it didn't seem to fix the problem. And I was kind of suspecting it was going to be the thermostat, just because during the winter when it was really cold outside, like it wouldn't warm up. It took forever for it to heat up and do the things that you would want it to do. So we're going to do that today. Replace the thermostat housing, which is located, this tube here is part of that. So what that means is we're going to have to drain the radiator and then get to it, swap it out with a new one, refill the radiator, and then see if that solves our problem. Let me get what I need: tools, parts, materials, some iPro. We'll climb under here, find the drain, and we'll get to it. Be right back. All right, we're now underneath the car. Now, let's see if I can get this to focus for you. Right there, this little guy is what we're after. Right, it's on the driver's side at the bottom of the radiator. This is the valve or plug. Right, there's a little, let me pull this off. There's a little nipple that comes off, a little drain line. And all I've done is taken a little piece of hose that I had, and I'm going to slip it on that nipple and then run it into that bucket. One, that's going to let us know exactly how much we've drained out of it. I've got granulated marks in the bucket. And then two, it'll let me have an idea of the condition of the antifreeze when it comes out. So let me get this going, and I'll be right back. Okay, we have our radiator draining now down there into the bucket. I have taken the lid off here just so there was no vacuum holding the liquid in the radiator and it could flow freely. Now I'm gonna see what I can do. Grab the tools that I need. I think it's just two 10 millimeter bolts actually. Let me look at the new part and verify, but I'll get my tools ready for that while that's draining, and then we'll hopefully by then it'll be drained down low enough that we won't make such a mess over here. So we gather that stuff up and I'll be right back. Well, I was wrong. It's 8mm bolts and not 10. But we're going to get started by removing these two radiator hoses that go into the thermostat housing. This is my replacement part here. I guess there's a couple different variations. Mine I don't think has the sensor, so this one also does not have the sensor. It is a Ford part, Motorcraft. I think it was like $30 on Amazon. I mean, I don't know who's got them that cheap on there. If I can remember, I'll try to leave a link. But yeah, let me get you set up and we'll get started. All right. Well, we're just going to see if we can dive into it. It's just some old hose clamps that's holding this stuff on. Of course, it would be on the exact bottom, you know. It's not like they expect anybody to ever work on this stuff, you know. Oh man, what a, you know, engineers, right? Everybody loves them. No. Let's see if I can just get it to slip around where I can, you know, do something with it. I'll be up front. It has quit draining. I'm a little disappointed in the level. I mean, I know it's a Focus and that the radiator can't really hold that much to begin with, but if I'm being honest, it's probably low, and that's probably the problem. But I have the part, and we're here. So ooh, I can almost do something with that. Well, I've got it around anyway. Now, since that's never been off, probably, how bad do you think it's going to be to work that off of there? Couple of screwdrivers. Let's just give it the old pliability test. Doesn't seem too bad. Let me grab a pair of vice grips, that way I can hold that clamp shut. If I can hold the clamp shut, I might be able to hee-haw around with it. Oh yeah. Well, oh no, slipped off. Well, I can deal with that when we get it off, I reckon. When I go to put the new one on. Just trying to break the seal on this rubber hose here. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know, the rubber that's never been detached from this piece of metal since it was installed from the factory 15 years ago. So way I can try to get it, you know, try not to tear it up. I don't know what you guys can see. I wish I had a better stand from my phone that could get you guys in here a little better. But now, in my mind, that should just slip out of there. You know? Nothing's ever easy. And I understand that they have to do certain things for front-wheel drive vehicles, but man, my old OBS GMT 400, man, that thing's just right up here. Real easy to get to. You know, a hose clamp and 2 bolts and you're done. You know, there's none of this. Oh, that's for the heater core. Okay. The heater core hose. Well, let me keep struggling with this so you guys just don't have to sit here and watch me struggle. Let me see what I can do. All right, we got it. What I did is I had to go in with a smaller screwdriver and just go a little deeper and just finish breaking that rubber seal, and then she came out no problems. So now I'm going to struggle with the I guess that would be your radiator return, maybe. I don't know. Sure, sounds right. Can't see anything. Wish I would have done it when I had the power steering pump out of it. That would have been really good time to do it. But I know you guys can't see, but this is the big, you see the big hose that runs down this way. Well, the clamp is under this intake tube. You can't see it. And I just replaced this power steering pump not long ago, before the winter time. So I had this power steering pump out of the way. Man, it would have been real easy to get to this, but you live and learn. Next time, if I'm working on some old POS beater and I have an opportunity for a cheap part to replace it, I may do that. So let me struggle with this one, and then I'll bring you guys back when I get it off. Okay, new tactic. I'm gonna leave the hose hooked up for now because there's just no way for me to get to that clamp properly. So I'm gonna take the whole thermostat out now with the hose on, and maybe I can then readjust it. A lot of maybes in there, but oh yeah, you see, this is the kind of crap that we have to do to get to the just junk, right? So I'll bring you back if this works. If not, I'm too far in it now. One way or another, this thing's coming off today. Well, I've got it unbolted from the block. Now, what that's done is that's definitely allowed me better access to that clamp. I might even be able to, you know, finagle this thing around where I can get to it and get the hose off and things, right? But I have the ability now to get around to what I need. So this should make it easier for me to get the hose off, and I'll let you know when I'm able to get that done. All right, let me see if I can get you in here a little better, right? Sure, maybe the best we can do. But as you can see, there, right down here, you can see that hose. It's no longer attached in there. So what I had to do was unbolt the thermostat housing, get it to where I could get to the stinking clamp that was holding that hose on the thermostat housing. Bolt the thermostat housing back up so I could get some leverage on disconnecting that hose. And now I'm going to take those two bolts back out. I only put 2 of the 3 in. I mean, it didn't require a ton of leverage, but you know. And then to keep me from dropping a bolt, I'm going to use this magnet because they're back in there, you know. I've got big hands and long fingers. It's still a pain, like I couldn't get in there with confidence and retrieve those bolts. So, you know, I have a tool that's meant to do it, you know, extend a hand, if you will, so that we don't drop bolts. Let's see if this thing will just come out. Look at there. Bam. Sure did. Came right out. And if we compare it to our new one, we did in fact get the right ones Isn't that nice? Same part number. 3M4G-BD. So, like I said, I don't know if the thermostat was the problem. It could have just been low on stuff, but parts cheap, and I'd hate to, try something else and then the thermostat be the problem in the first place. It's just better to go ahead and fix it. It's not really that difficult of a job. In case you wanted to screenshot the part information, it is a 1X, but there it is. And this is for the one without the sensor. Some of them have some of these 2.0s have that thermostat that has the sensor housing on it that I guess tells the fan when to kick on and off. This one doesn't. So if you have that one, I feel sorry for you, because it is considerably more expensive than this one. So all I'm going to do is take the brand new gasket that was supplied in the kit, stick it in here. It's got those little ridges and nodules that hold it in place, keep it from falling out. I think I'm going to go ahead and transfer this little hose for the heater. I think I'm going to go ahead and transfer that over too, and then wipe down the surface area in there, and try to do it right. You can do it right, or you can do it fast. And I don't have a lot else to do today. If possible, I'd like to get to my wife's Suburban, or Tahoe rather. If I could get to that today as well, that would be nice. Now look at that. Those things have a little clamp holder. Man, that's super nice. This one does not. So, yeah. Sure. Probably should go with a new piece of hose, but this one doesn't look too bad. As long as it seals, it's not the end of the world. And I mean, it's going to seal, even if it drips a little bit, a few heat cycles, and it'll seal back up. So just breaking that, or trying to break that factory seal on it, get it to slip off. There we go. Those clamps don't make it any easier. Let me see if I can just take that one off. Or heck, I may take both of them off. It ain't the end of the world if I do, right? Put them back on. Whoop. There she is. All right, let me grab a rag. I go to clean up that area down there, and we'll get her put back in. All right, just to let you guys know what I have done here is I took this clamp, because it sits in here in the car like this, right? This clamp was kind of in the way on this side. So I rotated it with the hose because I wanted it to sit in the same grooves, right? So I rotated it to where I had enough room to clear the socket for this bolt, but it's now out of the way. It's not touching the housing. I could probably rotate it all just a little bit more towards the top, and I may do that. There we go. Nope, too much. Just like that. There. So you can see I have clear access to the bolt, and then it is not in the way at all on this side. So just figured I'd share that piece with you. All right, let me bring you in here. Sure. We've got the hose hooked back up into the proper spot. The only thing left now is this guy for the heater core. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to slip this over like this. Push it on, and then that gives me pretty good access to get in here and, well, this clamp does not have one of those automatic hold down deals. So well, I figured I'd let you sleep.
Well, I was awake by 8:30. I just was waiting.
Oh.
Yeah, that morning shift, y'all can't sleep in on the morning shift. How's it going?
It's going. I'm sure y'all hear that. That's little Wilbert alive today. Oh man. Well, if you want to go, oh yeah, if you want to take my truck and go get oil and oil filter and coolant, that would be good. Okay, kid's finally back with the appropriate antifreeze for this car, right? I've got the thermostat in, everything's hooked up, good to go. Yeah. Let's see if you guys can, yeah, you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to use a little funnel just because it's a little easier. Make sure I get it in there. Boop, just like that. Oh man, my camera lady's doing things. Never had one. So, since orange came out of it, we're going back with, I'm sure what was in it was the original. So we're going to go back with orange for this particular make and model of car. So. Well, I talked about how I wasn't happy with the amount that came out, but I mean, a half gallon in, and this thing's already showing signs that it's full. So maybe it wasn't low on coolant. Oh, Mrs. Wilbert's over there snapping at little Wilbert. Y'all can go if you're gonna go. It's fun.
Hi, Wilbert does YouTube fans. Mrs. Wilbert's got to go get her nails done for her birthday.
I'll edit that out.
All right.
Y'all have fun.
Am I taking your phone again?
I think she's got her keys. It's fun.
Yes. So what do you do? It is unlocked.
Okay. I guess I should invest in one of those, the funnel deals that, where you add coolant, it does the burping and it does all the stuff, makes it easy. They're not that expensive. Saw some on the Amazon website for like 20 or 30 bucks. So maybe one day I'll do it. But as long as this keeps gulping it down like that, I'm sure. I don't know where it goes, but okay. Hopefully it's not going in my oil pan, and that would be just fantastic. But all this comes about because this engine, we're out here working on it, trying to get it right, but it starts sending too much fuel if the ECM doesn't get accurate temperature readings. Let's say the engine's 200 degrees, but it's only showing 150 on the dash or something. The ECM just keeps pouring fuel to the engine, and I can smell gas in the oil. So I'm certain that's why it was kind of stalling out occasionally. So it was flooding. It was flooding the engine. So, but I've almost used this whole gallon, and it's still gulping it in somewhere. I don't currently see and or hear anything leaking. Well, that's about right. I had almost 1 gallon come out of the radiator when I drained it. So I imagine we can at least get that back into it. I mean, seems like I've already put more in it than what came out, but oh man. All right, it has stopped right there. So let me get in it and fire it up and see if I can, get it to warm up, I need the thermostat to open and start flowing water so we can just make sure that the level is where it needs to be. She's got oil, got water. Water pump's gonna do water pump things. I don't know how this mic is gonna, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but you know, hopefully you guys can still hear me over the engine. I will say that I am impressed with the engine. The engine itself has got plenty of power. It's just a little 2-liter, 4-cylinder. And, you know, as you can hear, she runs very smooth. There's no tings or knocks or ticks or nothing like that. So I'm gonna hit the pause button on you guys, let this thing idle for a while, let it come up to temperature, and you know, bring you back when it's there. All right, looks like the thermostat is starting to open. The water's starting to move a little bit. Let me check this temperature gauge inside the car and see what it reads. I mean, it's just a gauge, no numbers. Yeah, that's better. I'll bring you guys in here in a second, but basically, from my understanding, this thing is supposed to run a, I'll go ahead and take you off the stand and bring you in here and show you what I'm talking about. This is the temperature gauge here. And during normal operating conditions, it should be about vertical, about where it is, just under the halfway straight up point. And then that should feed all the applicable information to the ECU the way it needs to be. Everything should be fine. Another thing that I like to do, I can see the refresh rate there, but please close door, of course. It's always something you have to do. But, all right. Okay. 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 All right. I like to go to trip B. Right. So trip A is what I use for fuel. Every time I fill up, I will reset that, and that just kind of makes me, it gives me an idea how many miles on the tank that I'm getting. Trip B is what I use for oil changes. As you can see, this one is 6,400 miles since the last oil change, and we did that today, so I'll reset that. Right. Okay. And there we go. But yeah, that's the temperature I like to see right there. Almost straight up and down. That's going to tell me that the thermostat is open. You see it. It is still moving a little bit of water. But and when you do this, I mean, this, let me get my fat finger out of the way. You know, you got to burp the system, you know. So, but that'll happen while it's driving. So, let me put this back on. I'm going to pour the rest of my coolant into this reservoir. There ain't much left in that bottle. Sure. Something about like that. I'll save just a skosh, just in case it needs it later. Right. The temperature on the engine's hot, so it really should be closer to the full hot. I'll leave it. Right now it's about halfway between full hot and full cold. I'm close all this down, remove the wheel chocks, take her around the block a few times, and just kind of see how she levels out. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And as always, get out there and do something.